not, mighty listeners. A month has passed and we are back from the shadows. Ben, good evening. How are you?
I'm great, mate. How are you?
Come on, they've missed my melodious voice. Melodious voice? I don't know. They've certainly not missed my lack of pronunciation, that's for one thing. So, how is Bobman? Still there?
It's still there, yeah? Unfortunately.
Yeah, okay. So, tonight, what are we going to talk about tonight, Ben? We've got the hobby desk first. As always, Ben has been painting away, and I've waved a brush in the random direction of some miniatures. Into the galaxy of war with Chaos Knights. Apocalypse. And more knights for
and
Titanicus.
Sisters of Battle.
And Sisters of Battle.
So much.
A Spirit Seer.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So then we move into the Mortal Realms, and Warcry is on everybody's lips, it would seem. Well, I was just likening the idea to a war cry is on everyone's lips. I thought I could have gone with that, but I didn't. But I have. Anyway, moving on. So that we've seen all 6 warbands now, so we can chat about that. Ben is going to the AOS Open Day. There's a tale there, and there's some other stuff. Sylvaneth. Oh, and the new General's Handbook. Flippin' heck, a lot happens when we don't record for a month, doesn't it?
Yeah, quite a lot, really.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Into the community. So, Roll Dice Gaming has happened. So, Ben went along and I turned up late for pizza. So, we can chat a little bit about that. Do our usual shout-outs. Announce the winner of the painting competition. And then, is it the Wilds or is it Middle-earth, Ben?
It's the Wilds. And I've got a few games to talk about that I saw at Roll Dice.
Oh, great. Brilliant. So, as you can clearly tell, an organised, a well thought out and thorough episode lies ahead of you. Yeah. Shall we move on? Because I'm running out of things to say.
Let's do it.
Guys, we'll catch you. Oh, you know what to do. Grab some refreshments and we'll see you on the hobby desk.
Hi guys, and welcome to the hobby desk. Episode 45. It's just taken us a good 2 minutes to work out what episode it was. Had to look it up. Which give us a month and we all suffer from amnesia.
In truth, we ran out of fingers and toes quite a long number of episodes ago. So
yeah,
that does cause a delay.
Scratch marks on the hobby desk now, isn't it? Like a prisoner in a cell. Or
marks on a bedpost, I was thinking, but there's where our minds are at. Quick, moving on.
Right, so hobby desk. It's a tough one for you, isn't it, buddy? All of the parents of young ones are feeling your pain at the moment. I think it's so hard to find the time.
It's just a combination of small creatures from the abyss and a house which needs sorting out bits and bobs.
Yeah.
I mean, how inconvenient that life should intrude.
I know. I was trying to work out whether it would be reasonable for me to take like a 5-year sabbatical to just do hobby. Apparently it's not.
I totally think it is. I think that's all about perspective.
That's what I said. I said I'd come back in 5 years refreshed.
And I don't mean that you need to get some. I think that everyone else does.
Needs to get some perspective.
Yeah. So I have done a bit. Not a lot.
I
did some Necromunda.
You finished the Titan.
Oh, yes. Well, I was going to come on to that, but seeing as you've already let the cat out of the bag, I have finished the Titan.
Well, I was excited.
I know. I was excited. Yeah, so I finished my Warlord Titan. Only like, what is it, 12 to 18 months on from when... It's at least that, isn't it?
At least. I mean, it's... Yeah. I mean, you started doing that when I came up and spent a couple of days around your house painting.
Mm. Well, what happened... the reason that ended up getting finished is because I decided to work on some Imperial Knights for Titanicus, 6 of them. I changed the household to Veroni, which is the one that is aligned with Gryphonicus in the kind of on the transfer sheet. And I used some warp lightning contrast paint on them. Managed to knock them out pretty quickly, actually. But when it got to doing the base, I was like, well, if I'm doing the base for these guys, I might as well do the base for the Titan. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do the base for the Titan, I might as well finish off the weathering. And then I finished it. So that was cool. I changed the basing scheme as well. Because I wanted to do a basing scheme that matched in with the brown sort of wasteland board that I've got.
Yeah. Have you gone back and done your other knights again?
No, I'm keeping them as they were, as like a homage to how I painted the first ones, I suppose. I don't know. I don't want to just repaint them. I've got 6, and that's a banner's worth, so...
No, I was thinking more about the bases.
No, because I don't think I'll use them that much. If ever. Just have them in the cabinet. They look cool.
Okay.
I could do, I suppose. But I got plenty of things to be doing. Yeah, that's about it, though. I've done that, and I've done some Necromunda. Got a gang of 15 Necromunda dudes now, and... is it 4 or 5? 5 angry rats with bombs attached to them.
Yeah.
They were ace to paint. That was
quite a cool journey, though, I thought, because you were trying out, like, at the same time, you were using them to try out the contrast paints and experimenting with how you could use them to make the process quicker, and you practically took it down by 80%.
Yeah, I managed to make it a lot faster. I think that was less about... Well, no, I know. How do we put it? So I think the fact that it was contrast paint was useful in as much as the smaller details, such as weapon pouches and whatnot, you could literally do with one coat.
Yeah.
But I have found, in truth, and it could be user error. That's, I'm not an incredible high level painter, but the contrast, I don't know if contrast paints do exactly what I thought they were going to do. Especially over and when I say larger surface areas, I don't mean like tanks. I mean like if you're going to paint a cloak on a model.
Yeah.
I just don't think it has the finish that... It's not at a level that I'm happy with. Let's put it that way. Or I haven't been able to get it there without a lot of extra work, and that defeats the object, in my view. But that's just a personal view of what I found so far. But what I have found it really useful for is things like I said, ammo pouches, candles, because there's a load of them on Cawdor. That was really useful. Just using the apothecary white over the base coat for the candles. That looks great. So that's real quick. And I've started painting Gore Halfhorn, his flesh, and that seems to be okay. So I did speed things up a bit. I did a bit more weathering, a few more effects. Actually nailed down how I was going to paint the bases, because I had 3 batches of 5 dudes, all with different bases. Not different so that you can really tell, but different ways of doing it. So I've written that down now. And that's a lot faster than it was. I can't believe, looking back, that I sprayed the bases silver on the first 5 and then masked off the bit I wanted to do bloody hatching on. Not hatching. What are they called? Hazard stripes.
Yeah.
Then sprayed that yellow and then put the stripes on and then sprayed that black. What a ridiculous thing to do. So this time what I've done is sprayed the base yellow, put the hatching on, sprayed black, and then got a brush and painted silver in the other areas. So much faster than faffing around with all that tape. Sometimes you can overcomplicate things.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
A lot.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what about you? You've created some rather nice looking things this month gone.
Well, to keep us on the topic of contrast paints, I'm gonna start with the things I've used mine on. So, really unfortunately, and I don't like to name and shame, so I'm not going to, but the company I ordered, it's a big company I ordered my paints from, took a really long time to get them to me. So I only got them like last Monday, which I was really disappointed about, and it still didn't have all of the paints in it. Had like 5 or 6 that were missing. They're going to send those later. So I was a bit disappointed about that, and it means that I haven't had as much of a go with them as I'd hoped. But what I have used them for is I did pop into Games Workshop Truro when they were released and have a play with them, because both Tommy Saul and Darren Latham had posted like non-metal metallics with them, and I'd had this idea in my head when I saw those things that it might be cool to try and paint with a degree of speed a unit of Stormcast using non-metal metallics just for funsies, to try and nail the technique down in my head. Maybe only like 5, or I was thinking perhaps the guys from Shadespire, something like that.
Oh yeah.
And I had to go on a hammerhead, and I was really impressed with that actually, because I was using the crappiest brush in the universe, which is any brush that you pick up that's been used in the Games Workshop by all the millions of people that use them and destroy them. And I didn't have the contrast medium, so I couldn't water them down. I didn't even have a pot of water really, because it was so busy. And I was really quite chuffed with the effect. I used Darren Latham did a really cool guide. And I used that, and that was very helpful. And, I was really excited by how quick that went. So I am thinking of having a shot at doing like those 3 sort of sketched out. I found it quite good for that. I was quite surprised how well they painted, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing I've used it for is, I did Trajan Valoris this month, which I haven't actually posted yet because I did it as a present and I kept it a bit secret. And I used it on that as glazes, and they are fantastic as glazes, Dan.
Yeah.
Absolutely superb. So I'd done his cloak, and I thought, I wonder what happened if I put a red glaze over that. And then I thought, wow, I don't want to use Bloodletter really, because that's gone. I'm not going to get it back, and I've only got a couple of pots of it. I might use it here and there, and I find it quite orangey anyway.
Yeah.
Used they're so good. It pulled all the blends together and punched up the colour in it so much. I was so happy with it. So really big fan of that. And I used it on the lion on his shoulder. I was copying Gareth Nicholas's one that he won a Golden Demon for. Mm-hmm. Which, when you actually really copy someone who knows what they're doing, it kind of just hits home just how far behind these people you are. And I was trying to copy the lion. He's got a really cool texture on it. And what I ended up doing is building up the texture and then glazing it back using the Skeleton Horde. I love that one. Really, really like that one.
Yes, I like that one actually a lot.
So I think I had a chat with Henry Steele about them, and we'll talk a bit about that roll dice bit in the community. But he said something that I think I completely agree with. That there's going to be like 10 of them that are absolute musts, and then the others I don't think are going to get used all that often. But we'll see. I found using the medium really helpful though, Dan. Really helpful. I used a lot of that with the glazing. So, yeah. Oh, and I used the yellow one to glaze the gold on Trajan as well to pull that together a little bit. So, yeah.
That does look excellent, the Trajan that you did.
Thanks, man. I was really chuffed.
When you showed me the picture, I was like, where have you found that on Instagram? Initially. So I think for me anyway, it shows a step up. Especially the freehand on the back of the cloak.
So that's not totally freehand. On the model, it's kind of outlined on it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they do that a fair bit now.
You've done a good job of making it look like it's just freehand.
Thanks. Yeah. I used, Marcus has got, he gets the monthly kind of asset drop. That's what they're called. Yeah. Asset drops. And he's just a hobby one. And this month it had, some really cool chrome pens in that you could paint on like chrome using like a pen. Do you remember the sort of gold, well, they still do them, but you know the sort of gold and silver like writing pens where you push down the nib and it sort of floods out? They're a bit like that, and dude, it is proper chrome. If you were doing like a car and you painted this on, you'd think it was made of chrome. Or like on the bumper of something of a classic car. Awesome. Maybe a bit shiny for a fantasy model, but you never say never.
Well, you've got to try these things.
And he in it had, Reaper do like a paint range?
Yeah.
Not very commonly used, but there were he had in it the 3 non-metal metallic gold paints, sort of mid-tone, and they were called like non-metal metallic mid-tone, non-metal metallic highlight, non-metal metallic shade. And I said, well, I'll have a go with them, see what they would come out like, and I really liked them. Even though like in the pots they looked a bit weird, the shade looked like baby poo. It's like a greeny brown, genuinely looked like baby poo. That worked really well though. Was really pleasantly surprised by that. So that was that. That's my sort of thing on contrast paints, the small amount that I've had time to have a go at them. So I'll be using them for glazes a lot. And I was sad to see the back of the glaze range, but up until I use these, because now essentially we've gone from, what was it, 3 or 4 glazes to 32. So.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm going to cut in here and have a mini gripe. So, in the interests of respecting your wishes, I also am not going to name and shame, but I am going to say that it really flipping ticks me off when people advertise product, take your money, and they don't actually have it.
Yeah.
And I would like to give a positive shout out to Simon from Greetings from the Warp or SVG Hobbies, because as people will know if they've listened to a number of episodes, I like to try and spread out where my custom goes, because I'm very lucky in that I have a number of local stores. And Simon's service and price has made me think I'd like to spread some of my money to him. And so when Contrast came along, I ordered them from him. And he was really honest, and he came back to me as soon as he could to say, look, dude, I've managed to order these, but I couldn't get them all. And I said to him, look, mate, I don't want to be funny, but the truth is I can walk into Big or Games Workshop on release day and get those colours, and I don't want to wait. And so he really kindly facilitated me getting a refund for the colours he couldn't get. So then I was able to go down to, it was Big in the end, was where I was, pick up all the colours he wasn't able to get, and then he sent me through the ones he could get. And I thought that open communication was really gold.
Yeah, he's fab for that.
I was really, really pleased with how that was dealt with, because as I said already, especially big companies, and then they have the audacity to point the finger at Games Workshop as well, and that just gets right on my nerves. The end of the day, you have a stock allocation, and you shouldn't take people's money for stuff you haven't got to sell them.
Yeah.
It really annoys me. But that's just my 2 cents on that. But yeah, anyway, on to more positive things. What else have you been doing?
Goblins.
Goblins? Never.
Lots of goblins. So I did the... I effectively finished batch 2 of the big bulk painting. So I got the netters done, which I love the old netter models. They're in the generation where the heads and the hands are so oversized. They're amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So I really enjoyed them. The Fanatics, which are superb models, but they're one of those models again where I think Gloomspite Gits walk a very fine line between what is a practical gaming piece and what is a display piece. And, I didn't take much of a knock, although I wasn't paying attention, and this one was my fault. It didn't just happen like some of the other breakages. I did knock it, and it snapped on the chain, and that took an awful lot of fixing. But no one noticed, which is when I posted the pictures, so that's positive. But I loved painting those. They're really easy to paint, which I was really surprised about. Because they are quite complicated to look at, but they are really easy to paint, and so I was able to put them in with the rest of the batch, if you know what I mean, and I loved that. So they just got kind of done, and I was really, really pleased with the outcome of those. All of the archers from Skull Pass were in there, as well as a few other bits and bobs, and I was quite pleased with that, because that meant that all of the bulk of Skull Pass is effectively done now, which is a big step for me.
That's a massive chunk of stuff done, isn't it?
Yeah. On my goal to getting all of the starters kits finished. So, really chuffed for that. Then I did, I just gathered together all the characters and worked my way through, but rebased a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
Really pleased that I rebased a lot of them, because I think that actually they'd have looked naff on smaller bases.
Everything looks naff. Oh, talking of which... Oh, no, we'll have to discuss that in a later section. There you go. There's a cliffhanger to keep people listening.
And I loved that. I really genuinely enjoyed doing that. So I think I spent about an evening on per model. So maybe sort of 4 to 6 hours. Absolutely loved the Shaman I did. That's my favourite. Got him on like a little rocky outpost. It became, like with Age of Sigmar, we've got these activation wars. My characters became a bit like rocky outcrop wars, like who could stand on the biggest. So the Shaman's on a tiny little 25mm base. I was like, well, he just looks like he's lost, so I made him higher. And I was like, is that too high? And Joe was like, no. I was like, okay. And I don't think it is. It was a bit ridiculous, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense, I suppose. And anyway, the Skull Pass characters, which turned out really well. They look like characters. They're great little plastic models, those. Stood the test of time a little bit. Simple enough to be nice and easy to paint. And you've got some space to do some freehand on them, but, complicated enough to make them characters, if you see what I mean. Like the little squig he's holding and that kind of stuff. And
I love that one with the little squig, actually.
Yeah, he's great, isn't he?
He's really cool. Yeah.
And on that one, I practiced bloodshot eyes. I've been doing a few of those with the Gloomspite Gits. Because on the bigger eyes, because I don't do pupils on my goblins, they can, the bigger eyes can look a bit funny. A bit...
You don't do pupils on your... That is what sets us apart, my friend. I wouldn't even consider, doing... You don't do pupils. Like, what the flipping heck do you do pupils on, you nutter?
Everything.
I knew you were going to say that.
Okay. So...
I'm just basking in the radiance of not losing my mind.
There was a couple of other characters, moving onwards, Daniel Jolly, of the old Goblin characters that are long gone now, that I really enjoyed doing them, but...
Dum-dum-dum-dum.
You're right there.
Yeah, I just really like Terminator.
Well, yeah, any sensible science fiction fan does.
Anyway, what were you saying?
Oh, yeah, some of the old metal models are thrown in there. Some old classics. And what was really nice is moving from those to the new Loon boss. Well,
oh, mate, you did such a nice job on him. I love how he links in with the rest of your army.
Yeah. So because he's wearing a lot of armor, I could really make him look like the Iron Jaws. I'm really happy with how he came out, actually, especially as I didn't have the colours I needed to do him. So
what?
I'd run out of Rakarth flesh, which is how I paint the armor on my, rather than air, because I do a lot of airbrush on the Iron Jaws to sort of get the coat down. And when I do the airbrush, I use Steel Legion Drab, then Carrack Stone, then Pallid Witch Flesh. And on this one, what I do when I paint is then I paint Rakarth flesh and highlight it with Pallid Witch Flesh and sort of shade it with Agrax Earthshade.
Yeah.
Didn't have Rakarth flesh, so I actually started with Baneblade Brown and worked my way through Carrack Stone and then Pallid Witch Flesh and shaded it back down with Agrax Earthshade. So, and I managed to get that to tie in as well, so I was quite happy with that.
Now, did you not have Rakarth flesh, or could you simply not find it in your highly organised painting?
I had run out. I had had no time to go down to Games Workshop and get some. So yeah. Equally, though, I did spend 20 minutes looking for Corvus Black, which I swore I'd bought and I couldn't find, and I've just found it in my hobby shed. So yeah.
Was it categorised with the other C items?
No, it was in a bag. What else have I done? Oh, the stingy spells.
Is that since last time?
Yeah.
Is it? This is the thing where you carved out all the spider
No.
legs?
That one I did a while ago. But the mushroom, the walking cauldron that reminds me of the thing from Willow, and the moon I did this time.
I need to go back and watch Willow.
I know.
It's been ages since I watched Willow.
It's got a Chaos Warrior in. Or Ulrich the Slayer gone bad. Either one, you know.
I think that's quite highly likely, Ulrich the Slayer going bad.
You should go and wash your mouth out with soap.
No, because I'm eating grapes, #healthy hobbyist.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, I did that weird special edition model. The one with the two goblins holding onto the fanatic legs.
Oh, yeah, you didn't like that.
I know, I didn't. It's a bit of a shame, really. I was quite excited about that when I bought it all those years ago. And I sort of sat down to paint it, and I didn't like it. But never mind. It's finished now. It's a interest piece. I don't really know how I'm going to use it in the army either. I probably won't. But, yeah. So one of the things I did have a go with, which I was really quite chuffed with how it turned out, how easy it was to do, was that trick where you airbrush through a, wet wipe, to get marble effects.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
on the base of Tradjan.
Proper easy and really, really cool. It looks great. There's virtually no skill involved in that at all.
Well, that sounds like something I could get on board with.
Well, I sprayed it well, first of all, I sanded it completely flat using wet and dry. And then I put on a mid-grey, and then I put on the black through the sort of stretched wet wipe, and then I put on, white over the top, and then I got the grey and just sort of very lightly dusted it over it to tie it together, and I loved it. And I reckon you could do quite a bit of messing around with different sort of cloths and different sort of textures to make it more or less streaky or whatever. Well,
probably just by teasing it out a bit more.
Yeah.
Or less.
Yeah. And I would seriously consider that as an army base now, in various different colours.
Which army would you do that on?
Well, I was going to Well, I've got some Custodians that I was going to do as like an attached force to my Space Force in 30k. So I might do it on something like that, or I might go for something really odd, like orcs, to make it look like they're ransacking an imperial palace.
Yeah, I love the idea of that. The Death Skulls.
Yeah,
just putting tracks on an imperial palace and painting it blue. Did you know that individual Custodians were dispatched by Gilliman with the gene seed for Primaris across the Cicatrix Maledictum, or not maybe through it, but through the little gaps into the Imperium Nihilus to take, so that other chapters could make Primaris.
Yeah, because that's how the spears got them, isn't it?
Oh, right. I didn't know.
So.
I just read it in White Dwarf because it's talking about the Blood Ravens.
Yeah. I think the fact that Custodians are out and about is really cool. But that's for Galaxy of War, isn't it? So,
yeah, I just thought it was an interesting snippet, and I hadn't said much for a while.
So, what have you got planned? Anything?
Well, I'm struggling to decide what I want to do, what I want to paint. Somebody did advise me not to just build a load of models, because I would then not be sure what to do.
Who was
that? I don't know. This guy, he just goes on and flipping on. It's just ridiculous. So now I've got loads of models built and I don't know which ones to do. I think I don't know why really. I've been a bit tired really. I haven't really felt that engaged. I've got the new Executioner guy from Necromunda.
Oh, you love him so much. You've got to do him.
I know, but I can't decide. So I did think I might do him in real, like, white, pale robe things, but loads of blood.
Yeah, that's cool.
I thought that would be cool. Then I thought, I'll do him in black. Like, Executioner type black. Yeah. So I painted him with Black Templar, and I don't like it. So yeah, I'm a bit of an impasse with him, and then I've got a whole bunch of Titans ready to start doing.
Yeah.
Because I'm quite excited by that at the moment. So, I don't know, really. I want to do some Tau. What I'm going to do is all these models I built, I'm going to put away in a case.
Yep.
And then just get one thing out and work on it, and then one another thing, and so on and so forth. And then we'll see where I get to in a month's time.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you doing next?
I have still got Goblins to do. So I've got the Grom the Paunch. I've got the Loon Boss, the sort of big bad one with the moon on a stick, whose name has completely escaped me. But him,
Snickrot.
Yeah, that sounds right. And I got the big troll to do. And then I've got the Gobblepalooza.
Oh, those, I can't wait to see you do those.
And I keep meaning to pick up the Snuffling Whatsits. Snufflers?
The Snuffling Whatsits?
Yeah, the Snuffling Whatsits.
Fantastic, yes. The background writers were kicking ass when they named those.
the Snufflers. And then...
I have got images now of Whatsits going... going
like
that. That's the noise they make.
Yeah, munchy Whatsits. And I do mean to pick up some rock gut trolls at some point. Or the new stone trolls. I forget their name. I'm terrible with names. I'm so bad. Sometimes I go to get a patient from the waiting room and I've forgotten their name halfway down the corridor. I have to go back and check. And sometimes I've done that twice for the same person. Do
you not go out into the waiting room and just shout an ailment?
No. Oh, what was I going to say? I'm thrown completely. So there's those. But what I've been doing is putting together the old orcs from the starters kit, with.
Yes, the YMCA.
Yeah, the YMCA orcs. I've got a ton of those, so I've very specifically got out enough to make a unit, and that's it. You know, a unit of the hand-to-hand ones, a unit of the arrow boys. The two, I've got 2 chariots, one that's sort of normal and one that I've done that's falling to pieces and they're all jumping off of it, which looks quite cool. It's a bit of a conversion. And the war boss. And I put together another 15 Ard boys with shields this time. Because I'll talk about that, why I've done that later on. And I've already got some Ard boys put together and sprayed. So I'm going to be, getting them up to, with the airbrush up to where I want them, and then bashing them all out, all 25 of them at once, because the Ard boys are fairly easy to do. But whether I'm going to do that this month or next month, I'm not sure.
Okay, well, with that in mind, shall we move into the Galaxy of War?
Let's do it.
Cool. So, more refreshments required, and we shall go into the Galaxy of War. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. Being in part an exposition of the Warhammer 40,000 game wherein opposing players assume command of miniature armies to recreate upon the tabletop the savage battles of a future age. Proceed at your own peril. Imperium Classification 451, Chapter Approved 0967845.M41. May the Emperor's wrath forever cleanse our souls. And you're probably thinking, what on earth is he talking about?
What are you talking
about?
But
those are the opening words on the Warhammer 40,000 3rd edition rulebook.
Yeah.
I ordered that off eBay in this last month in a fit of nostalgia.
Yeah.
And it is glorious, mate.
Yep. Yes, it is.
It is so glorious. It's actually really interesting because in so many ways its production values are so much less than the stuff we see now.
Yeah.
And yet, because it's black and white and there's lots of very sketchy art and John Blanche stuff and little sayings, it's so grimdark and 40k. I just love it. And obviously there's always that bit of nostalgia connected with the fact it's the first one I had. But it's really nice to read it and to see that actually it's not all rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah,
it really is amazing.
Yeah.
It really is inspirational. Some of the art and things like that, they're just amazing. So yeah, I just was feeling a little bit retrospective, so I thought I would read that out.
It's a great book. It's got some really cool sections in it. I'm going to pull my copy off the shelf now and remind myself. But there's the guard page, where a picture of all of the different guard regiments.
Yeah.
Is that one? I think it is.
There is a section of miniatures from each of the different ranges.
Flick, flick, flick. Oh, no,
there's a wonderful section of different battlefields.
So
there's
really a section where it says the worlds of the Imperium, and it tells you what all the different classifications are, and about them. So, Gamma class is a civilized world, Delta class is a dead world, Delta Tau class is a death world, rather than a dead world, and then it's got those wonderful sketchy kind of alien bits where it's got the Tyrellian dog soldier and the Amble in there, and the orcs and the Eldar and the Gene Stealers, and then but there's a section in there where it's got the guard, and there's all sketches of the different guard regiments, and I'm going to have to find that now. I'm going to draw out this part of the fill the gap with page flicking noises as I... Oh, that's a cool picture. Where is it? Oh, it's one of my favourite like little bits of background pages.
What are you looking for, mate?
And I really want to find it now. I thought it was in this book. I've always had it in my head as being in this book. It's like a picture of all the different sketches of all the different guard regiments. It's not going to be in here, and I'm now going to be like... No, it's not in here. Oh, that's going to bug me now. Never mind. Right, I shall have to ponder that one next time.
So, moving more up to date, we are currently bombarded with a myriad of awesome things.
Yes, we are.
From Games Workshop, are we not? So, what would you most like to discuss first, sir?
I don't know. Let's, I'm going to keep it simple, do we? Let's start with, I would like to start with the Blackstone Fortress release, the sort of Chaos Command with the Ogrin and the Commissar.
Yeah.
Really, really like that. Loving seeing what people have done with them. So, nice to see sort of an expansion of Blackstone Fortress. Another one. It's quite cool. So they're keeping on top of that.
Yes. I like the models. I like the Chaos Commissar. I like the Chaos Ogre.
Yeah.
Definitely. A little bit of me agrees with some of the comments about, actually, it was really exciting when Blackstone Fortress came out and you saw the Spindle drones and Chaos Beastmen that we'd not seen for a long time. And like the robot guy. And then the Amble came out and it was like revisiting really old concepts. And I hope we get to see more of that. And that's not to say I dislike the idea of the Chaos Commissar and the Chaos Ogre, because actually, in truth, they have not been imagined in plastic before, so that's nice to see. But it would be nice to see some more historic type stuff.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Esoteric type stuff. Yeah. But, yeah, very nice models.
Yeah, I love the fact that it's a Chaos Commissar. It's a proper sort of pulling a bird on people, isn't it? So I like that.
Yeah.
And I like the Ogrin is different enough from a lot of the other things that it stands out. The moment there's a problem. Yeah, there's a when you've got so many different models that are very similar. Making them stand out amongst the crowd is quite tough, I should imagine. But every time I see that, I instantly can recognise it as not, as being its own thing. So I'm quite keen to get my hands on them, to keep up my Blackstone Fortress collection, which I really ought to start painting, if we're being completely honest, before it really gets ahead of me. Yeah, so that's that. I think it's going to be quite tough to sort of cover Apocalypse, isn't it, to be honest? It's, I'm going to do something that really excites us. Let's do the Sisters of Battle, dude, because I am absolutely so excited about this. That one of her running forward with a power, her helmet on. Oh, man.
Yeah, what, the actual painted example? Yeah,
it's so good. It's so good. It's so dynamic, and she's so well proportioned, and the idea that if you want, I really hope that you can. I really hope that you can choose to have either helmeted or unhelmeted heads on the sprue, because, it's so good. Sister of Battle helmet is one of my favourite helmets in the game.
Yeah.
Period. It's just brilliant. Absolutely love it. I'm so excited about the Sisters of Battle, and I desperately don't want to love them so that I don't have to paint another brand new army. But I can see myself falling hook, line, and sinker.
I was going to say, I think you're onto a no-oper there, my friend.
They're so nice. And I've always loved them. I've got a couple of squads of the metal ones, because I was going to have them to support my Black Templars. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to have them to support my Black Templars, and it never really happened. I found the page. It's in Codex Imperial Guard 3rd edition, if you're interested.
Excellent.
There's some really cool stuff in here, dude. That's going to go on the shelf. That's got like a 2-page spread of little sketches of the different guard regiments. Yeah. So, yeah, Sisters of Battle. I mean, I was kind of just hoping that, you know, the little things that we see weren't going to come together into something so amazing that, yeah. But Darren Latham's like Sister of Battle based on Karl Kaplinski's artwork, and then that model of her running forward painted is, it's going to be hard. It's going to be so hard. And I'm going to have to fine highlight all those edges. Dan, stop me before I do.
They'll be out just in time for you to wrap up your goblins.
One of the things I am happy with my goblins is, though, in doing my goblins, I've done my old goblins. So I am clearing my backlog at the same time. And I suppose if I do the Sisters of Battle, yes, I'll do my old Sisters of Battle. So I'll kind of clear a bit of that backlog too. Perhaps. That sounded positive and like, I am clearing my backlog of models, honest. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that, because I think there's a lot of people who really want them, that want them so much more than me, and just sort of listening to them get excited is exciting. I thrive off of other people's excitement. Yeah, so I love it. I love it when I go into like a group and they're having a bit of a whinge, I just sort of leave, because I find that really drags me down. But in the opposite sense, if I go into a group and they're like, "Oh, the Sisters of Battle look amazing," I'm like, "Yes, they do. Yes, they do." So, yeah, really quite. Yeah. So yeah, there's those. Are you thinking of any of them to add into your Imperial army?
No.
No?
Nope. It's not that they aren't stunning. They are. But I've got not as big a backlog as you. But I suppose it's about, I've got a big backlog and a lot less time to tackle it. Yeah. Which is like a double whammy. So, as much as I'd love an army of them, it's just not realistic.
It's nice to have that option there, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'd far rather there was the options were there, especially with the number of things sort of disappearing off the back end that you got to keep an eye on as well. It's nice to have cool stuff coming on new. The thing for me at the moment is terrain. I just seem to have this mad obsession with buying up box sets of terrain.
Yeah.
And I really need to get some painted.
Yeah.
Need to do that. So, Sisters of Battle, very cool. Couple of new tanks. So we've got the new floaty death tank for Mechanicum. Yeah. There's the Scorpius Disintegrator, which I think is the shooty one. And then there's the transport version, isn't there?
Yeah, I really like them. I really like them because they're not like anything they've ever done.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're real different. They really fit the Mechanicum. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And things like the fact that they are front emptying troop transports, it is, for me, is really fitting. Taking aside an assault boat, it's often, really useful to have them front emptying, like the battering rams for the Space Marines, the rams that they have, or even the landing craft from Normandy. But, when you're the Mechanicum and you're not really a fast attack army and you have a front opening troop transport, it shows a complete and utter disregard for everybody inside it. They're like, this is just a way for you to get there. Yeah. They don't really care if you get shot when you come out. It's like, because we'll just rebuild you. It's not a problem. So I really like it. Oh, your leg's missing. We'll just stick some new ones on. So I really like it. It's just odd looking. And I find that that's when you listen to the guys talk on the podcast about silhouettes, there's nothing like that silhouette. It's completely and utterly unique. And I think that's what makes it cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and also I quite like the fact that it's different in as much as it's obviously a grav tank. So when you look across the Mechanicum army, you've got the battle servitors on tracks. You've got the dune crawler on legs. You've got the dune strider on, a dune crawler on lots of legs, dune strider on 2 legs. Now you've got this which floats. It really fits the kind of Mechanicum variety, I suppose, and they're just randomly trying out all sorts of things.
Experimentation, seeing what works.
Yeah, or you could imagine them just like digging away and pulling out a piece of paperwork and we're like, oh wow, that's an STC design. We'll just chuck that one in.
Yeah.
Actually, it was formerly a Portaloo, but they've kind of put some guns on it and thought, this is a tank.
That's so true of the Mechanicum, that they understand so little about the technology that they're messing around with, that a lot of it probably was something completely benign. I love it. What do you think of the Primaris one?
I think it's a natural evolution. Like when you look at the Rhino, and then the Rhino becoming a
Razorback and Predator,
Predator. Be nice to see something with a slightly different hull, but not yet. Although there isn't there? There's that video that was doing the rounds.
Darren Latham's,
Primaris Lieutenant joke. Well, and I think there's something that looks a bit like a slightly smaller transport only version, which is cool. So I like it. I think it's good. It's nice to see other options for people.
I'd quite like to see some MBTs with a lower silhouette.
Yeah.
Because it's proper big. It's really...
Yeah, but it is a Space Marine
really
vehicle,
high.
Isn't it? So.
Yeah. And there's a little part of me that looks at it and says, I love it because it's just ridiculous. And that's what kind of 40k is about. But a bit like the Lehman Russ, where the hell are they storing the ammunition? It's like if it's got a troop compartment, it's got a Gatling. That Gatling gun will eat through crates of the stuff. And you've got 2 twin-linked heavy bolters and missile pods and the battle cannon and what have you. You'd need the whole troop compartment just for batteries and bullets.
It's got a mini warp rift, which is like teleporting rounds down from orbit.
I'm sure that there was a weapon in 40k where they did that. It had like a not teleported it in, but sort of built it out of resources. That
Well, the Necrons would probably.
I thought it was an Imperial one. I've got a feeling that. I don't know. I got so many sort of random pieces of information in my head that it's difficult to remember whether or not it's Aliens versus Predator or 40k. But but I do recall at some point a weapon that it kind of manufactured its bullets as it was doing it out of, and you could stick like lumps of coal in and it would do it.
Yeah, I seem to remember something along those lines. It's savage in the game.
Yeah, it is.
Believe. That gun is really good.
Which one? The Gatling gun or
the main one? Sorry, the big laser
yes, it is. It's so ridiculous. It's quite nice though, because like for a long time, I felt like every other army almost had something that could outpunch a Space Marine. So it's nice to have like a main battle tank, whereas because before a long time ago, if you wanted something dead, you put a Predator Annihilator on the board.
Yeah.
And that was it. Second edition, you put a Predator Annihilator on. Blah, blah, I'm done. That was the end of it. And then they released the Land Raider, and that was like, the Land Raider. And then it was almost like Games Workshop went, oh dear, the Land Raider. We kind of need things that can deal with the Land Raider. And then the Eldar had all the guns in the universe. And then the Tau had all the guns in the universe plus one. And the Space Marines were like, Oh. I need more guns. They got bigger guns now, so that's good. Not quite as big as that big Tao's shoulder-mounted guns, though. No.
So, Apocalypse.
I'm a bit Apocalypse overwhelmed, actually. They did that thing that they do, and I really like, but I got overwhelmed by it, all the faction focuses.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was like, when they did it with 40k, it was quite a long process, wasn't it? It was like 2.5 months or something. This feels like the faction ones have come out over a lot shorter amount of time, and I had real trouble keeping up with them and assimilating them and putting them into context without really playing the game. If that makes any sense? Does that make sense?
No, I understand, yeah. Yeah, I find that a lot, though. You just want to get on and start playing.
I didn't have enough money to pick up Apocalypse this month. And then I remembered that I don't think the box set's going to be around forever, is it? With all those cards in.
Is it not? I know the cards weren't.
Anyway, so yeah, I haven't even picked it up and read the rules yet, so I don't know.
It's for me. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say I don't play games enough really to. I struggle at the moment to remember all the games that I do play. To add Apocalypse in, I can see me doing it maybe once a year, so I didn't feel the need to run out and buy the books. It feels like something I'd rather get with a group of people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I think as a game it sounds fantastic. Like I watched some of the how to play stuff, and I've watched a few of the battle reports online, and it seems right up my street. I really, really like it. But I don't have a collection big enough to warrant it, and I know it can be played at smaller sizes, but that seems to miss the point a bit for me. And it is a lot of money to invest in it properly. Is quite a lot, and like you, I don't play loads. But you know, something for the future. It's another thing that I'm glad is there, because it looks ace. It looks really good.
Tell me a bit about the rules then, because I know how it plays.
So, weapons have what is it they call it? Like a role versus personnel and a role versus tanks.
Yeah.
So to cause is it to cause wounds or hits? I can't remember. But anyway, to cause hits or whatever it is. So and it uses D12s, but this is what I like. This is quite a clever mechanic. So when you hit people, they take blast markers in damage instead of damage, and then they take blast markers in damage, and then at the end of the turn in the damage phase, they roll their saves. So that was quite a big thing they were talking about. So that you essentially nobody dies until the end of the turn.
Yeah.
So that's quite cool. But then if you've got a large blast marker on you, for every large blast marker on you, you take a save on a D6, and for every small blast marker, you take a save on a D12.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So if you've only got small blast markers on you, which is invariably from the smaller weapon types, a less weight of fire, then you're more likely, say like a Terminator with his 3-up, I think it's a 3-up save, a 3-up save on a D12, quite likely to make. So yeah, that's one of the main things I can remember really, and it's all done on detachments, and they receive different orders. So like you might have it rewards you for having detachments which are made up of similar unit types, because you can only issue one order. So like there's one order which lets you shoot. You either shoot twice or shoot with a modifier to hit. But that's the only thing you could do. So if you had close combat troops in that detachment, they would be stuck.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's cool. I like the saves at the end of the turn idea. That's really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was good. And I was going through a box of stuff yesterday, and I found some resin blast markers that I bought to mark hull point damage on tanks back before they got rid of that. And I was like,
useful.
These are useful. So yeah, I'd definitely like to play it at some point. I think it'll be one for the future when there's a bit more time.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. Well, it sounds cool. Like I said, I like the look of it. It hasn't completely grabbed me yet, but I can imagine
it would be the sort of thing where I'd be quite excited to be like, Ben, get out your iron snakes. We're going to Warhammer World. And then we'll just get Apocalypse and go up there and just spend a weekend learning to play it with like your iron snakes and as much of my chaos as I could get, and get some of the other guys together.
That'd be cool. Would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if there was an event, a game that was planned, I think I'd feel more inclined to do it, but as it stands, possibly not. So lastly releases, I think there's a few other things I'd like to talk about is Chaos Knights.
Yeah.
Love that kit. It could so easily have been just, here's some gubbins to stick on a model. Could have so easily been that, but it's not. It's a totally new kit. Well.
Have you listened to Jez Goodwin's podcast about Knights?
No.
So I think it is the most recent Voxcast, is Jez talking about the genesis of the Knights and then the Chaos Knights. And it is just fabulous listening to how they come up with it and the thinking they had and trying to change the silhouette again. Talking about changing the silhouette, trying to change the weapons options, trying to create knights that were both generic but had enough space on them that you could do your own thing to make them more god-specific. So, for example, he was talking about, like, on the armor plates, if it was going to be corrupt, put the corruption around the edge of the armor plate so that people can still apply a transfer to the middle of the armor plate. Things like that, which I thought was very cool. Giving people flexibility. The fact that the gauntlet on the Chaos one is on the opposite arm to the gauntlet on the Imperial one, so if people really want to, they can have a double gauntlet.
That's really cool. Is it clean enough that you could make it a double gauntlet for a 40k one as well? For an Imperial, for a
Loyalist one. I don't know, I haven't had a good look, but nobody would want to do that anyway.
Okay. I mean, I think you're wrong, but,
I certainly imagine that Forge World will phase out their Chaos Knight upgrade kit now, because why would they not?
Yeah. It's a bit of a shame, though. It does give you an extra option.
Yeah, but it's just not as good.
Yeah.
By a long way. I mean, they just look so good. And all those spikes and bits would just be so cool to have for, like, doing tanks and things, other chaos things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It looks great, doesn't it?
So, one last thing before we close up Galaxy of War and move into the Mortal Realms is I was on the I should have possibly done this after Apocalypse. Simon Grant's Space Wolf Apocalypse Army. Did you see it?
No.
So good. So many Space Wolves. Yeah.
Okay.
So one of the cool things about the articles they're doing is they've been looking at people's Apocalypse armies, and Simon Grant is obviously a big Space Wolf player, so his is Space Wolf, and I've really enjoyed looking at that and having it kind of inspired me over the last month to sort of to make some headway with my Space Wolves again, because they've been on the back burner for months now, and I really want to do Shadow Spear and get those done. Never mind. But yeah, there's some other cool ones on there, like Peachy's Jeans to the Cults, with like little robot things in there for the Mechanicum robots that he's sort of converted to fit in with it. That's really cool. And one of the things he's done is I don't know whether it's on the kit. I did mean to have a look, but his quad biker has got like a spaceman helmet on it, which looks really cool, rather than like just a head. I really like that. So yeah, some cool armies that, if you don't follow the community site, it's worth going on and have a look at them, because I quite like seeing armies in White Dwarf and online, especially when there's lots of pictures, because you can really sort of look in and see what people have done, because it's often really difficult to, for all of those things to be easy to see. And I do quite try and spot the cool conversion. That's one of my favourite games. I'm so sad. Right, that's me done. I've got nothing more.
Cool. Well, in that case, I mean, the thing is, there's so much stuff coming out at the moment. It's such an awesome world. We could just talk 40k forever. But it is important to us that we have a broad range of subjects in a desperate attempt to get, a couple more people interested. So, with that in mind, we shall go to the Mortal Realms.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Mortal Realms. I haven't got a good quote for you. I did try. I've got my Witch Hunter's Handbook out, and my Life of Sigmar book, and none of them, they all sounded just a bit corny in isolation, so no quote for you. Sorry. Although the Witch Hunter's Handbook was an interesting little flick through in the interim.
I actually have that. And the Life of Sigmar one.
They were must-haves when they came out for me. I just thought they were superb. Lovely, like before Black Library did lots of cool books like that. They did those two, and the Munitorum and the Uplifting Primer, and I thought they were really well produced. Like particularly the two Guardsman ones, I felt like they were like an artifact, like a real thing. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I've no quote. But we've got so much to talk about in Age of Sigmar. It's really quite good fun. So where do we want to start, dude?
Do you want
Where would you like to start?
Talking about what you found in the General's Handbook?
Yeah, the General's Handbook. So, I've had a good old flick through, like, my sections on this. I just said to Dan, I apologise, because the only things I've really had a look at to compare are my Ironjaws and Gloomspite kits. So, I'm well chuffed, mate. Most of my army is cheaper.
Yeah.
Like a significant amount cheaper. So, when I talked about the Ard Boys earlier, so in the past, they were 160 points for 10, or 450 for 30. They're now a flat 140 points per 10, which is a big difference. And generally everything has been reduced. So the only thing that I can find that hasn't been reduced is the Gore Grunters and the Mega Boss and the War Chanter and the Shaman. So the Maw Crusher, both the special character version and the Mega Boss, normal Mega Boss one, Ard Boys, Brutes, and all of the battalions have been reduced in points.
Yeah.
Which is super cool, because I just think that you can get more bang for your buck now. Which is, everyone wants to have, like, more stuff for their points, don't they? Really, at the end of the day.
Yeah,
that's definitely. Really liking some of the changes they've made to the Ironjaw's allegiance abilities, and I'm going to use those as a highlight, because I've flicked through some of the others and had a little look, and it's the same kind of thing has been done across, the whole, all of them. So they've tidied up the wording in a lot of places to make a lot more sense. So things like, armor Armour of Gork, which is one of the artifacts of power. If the unmodified save roll for an attack made with a melee weapon that targets the bearer is 6, is a clarification on the previous where it just said if the save roll is a 6. So they've done a lot of tidying up across the board with that, which just makes the whole section on Iron Jaws make a lot more sense. I only had to read them once, where sometimes I've had to read them a few times in the past to fully grasp what they meant, which might be because I'm illiterate. It's possible.
Well, they have said a few times, haven't they? They're moving towards, that's one of the things they're trying to do is make things really unambiguous.
Yeah, and I think they've done a good job with that. And like I said, I've focused on the Iron Jaws, but I've sort of looked at the others to compare some of the other things as well. There seems to be a lot more sort of extra little tables and options in here. So, for example, the Iron Jaws have now got a spell lore in here with 6 spells, which is really cool. Some of them are excellent. Because really my shaman only had 2 spells, which was just a bit of crap, really. He's now got 8 options, which I think is just much better. And it doesn't say that it replaces the Foot of Gork. So
no, they don't normally. Normally you get the 2 basic powers, Mystic Shield and Arcane Bolt.
Yeah.
And plus your normal power in your War Scroll, plus 1 off your list.
Yeah. So there's a couple of great ones in there. But they're good in that they give me more options. None of them are sort of standout. I mean, the Foot of Gork for me, I think is a real standout spell because it either does nothing or just annihilates everything. Which is like what I love about the Iron Jaws. One of the things they've done a lot of is make things more likely to happen. So I'll give an example. Mighty Destroyers is the rule that allows you to move them at the start of the hero phase. Do you remember that one? I've used it against you enough.
Yeah.
And you roll for each of the units. So before it was roll a dice in your hero phase for your general and each friendly Iron Jaws hero. This is a battle trait. And add 2 to the roll for your general. On a roll of 6+, pick a friendly unit wholly within 12 of that model being rolled for, and that unit can immediately make a normal move. It is more than 12 inches from the enemy. So you had the potential to move quite a lot of your units. In my army, I had almost as many heroes as I had units, so I could theoretically move them all if I wanted to, if I'd rolled the 6s. They've changed that now. Mighty Destroyers is no longer a battle trait. It's a command ability. And I've just closed the book like a plonker. And I can use this command ability in my hero phase. And if you do so, pick 1 friendly Iron Jaw unit wholly within 12. And that unit can make a normal move without rolling. So it's playing on the fact that you now have more command points than you used to, and you can choose to use them to move your units up, which means, in a way, you're going to only be able to do a few of them on the first turn, or you could wait and then go all out on your second turn.
Yeah, build up your pool a little bit.
Yeah, like that. And the battle trait is smashing and bashing, which used to be... I'm balancing 2 books in my hands at the same time, guys, so I'm sorry. It used to be one of the battle traits, but you didn't have the command ability, so you just sort of added that in. And it's keeping eager for battle, which is a +1 to charge rolls. So there's quite a lot of changes, actually, just for the Iron Jaws. And the good changes. Because I think that there has been a lot of... there's a lot of risk with the Iron Jaw army, in that you could quite easily not get a lot of stuff off. Whereas with this, it now feels like you're making a tactical decision to use your command points to do one thing or another, which I think would get me more involved in how I played with my unit, rather than just go, oh, well, let's just roll all these dice and see what happens. And, oh, look, I've managed to do nothing. Or, brilliant, I'm now right down your throat and all my units are in combat. And that was just fluke. So, yeah, I'm really happy with the changes. The other section that I flicked right through straight to is the narrative section, because I do love my narrative games. Absolutely loving the Regiments of Renown. And this is going to sound really sad. There's a name generator in here, Dan. And I really like it.
Yeah, I know. I heard that was in there. That's ace. That's a great bit of news.
Yeah. It reminds me of how boring some of the hero names can be, like the good heroes. You've got Iron and Eagle and Lightning and Fire, and then you go over to the Iron Jaws, and it's Big Tooth and Grot Pruncher and the Hardest. So you'd have like Bracker, Bloodclaw, the Green Beast or something, and it's just so much more fun, isn't it? So yeah, I have only sort of, like I said, been really specific with the handbook and picked out my army, but I think the general theme for me is that they've tidied up a lot of the wording. So that looks like it's going to be quite a good improvement across the board. A lot clearer. And I hope that other people have had similar kind of boosts to their non-codex or older codex armies. So if you've had any changes to your army, we'd love you to get in contact and tell us a bit more about it, because it's hard for us to compare all of them in the time we've got. So it'd be cool to just hear. Even
better, chuck up some pictures of a game that you've had with them in the hobby group.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That's a cool idea. I knew there was a reason we had you around.
Yes. Well, by the Mortal Realms, it's just snippets of awesome every now and then.
So, Dan. Warcry.
Yes, Ben. Warcry. What a stunning set of miniatures.
I know. Yeah.
Like, completely apart from the rules. What a flipping fantastic set of miniatures. And a wonderful way to explore the various realms. And the sort of types of chaos you get.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been... Oh, mate. You know those crazy wavy flappy arm things?
What?
That they use at car sales?
Yeah, yeah.
Forecourts. So today I saw on Facebook somebody had got that Slanesh guy with stilts.
Yeah.
And they put him... And it was like... Crazy stilted Clory arm man. Great deals on motor cars. And then it was brilliant. I thought that was ace. But yeah, I mean, and then what I really liked is like the Iron Golems, unsurprisingly, are my favourites. I really like them. I like the range from going from, you've got the dwarf, and then you've got like the mid-sized men, and then you've got the big ogre sized dude in there. I really like that. Various weapons that you don't often see. So I like that. And then the last warband that have just been shown, the Tzeentch one, again, totally different.
Yeah, like totally different, aren't they? Yeah.
You know, yeah, the Slaneshi type looking one that we've already mentioned with the stilt guy, again, out there, the snake dudes. You know, the only one that's like classic chaos, I suppose, is the beast one. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that either. They are amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great to see the variety and the terrain. Oh, I was looking at the sprues. Oh, just such an awesome range of terrain.
Yeah, I think the diversity of the warbands is a big selling point for me. There's got to be... I don't like chaos, typically. I like the odd one or two models, and I like a well-painted army, whatever it is. But I like almost all of them, because there's bits of each and every one of them that I like. Like on the iron ones, I like the helmets. Yes. On the Beastmen, I love like the sort of feral nature of them. The new Tzeentch ones, I don't like the crests on the helmet, but I love how dynamic and sort of martial arty they are. with like the Naginata style spears and the sword in the kind of Chinese sort of Tai Chi hold. And so different, all of them. And the Raven ones, the Corvus, are just great. I think there's got to be a warband that almost anyone would be able to relate to in some way, like aesthetically go, I like that one. And this just feels like the start as well. And we've talked a lot about this with the Mortal Realms, but we've talked a lot about it with 40k and Blackstone Fortress, and it feels like they're using this to sort of scratch deeper into what Chaos actually is, because Chaos has been exactly the same for as long as I have ever played this game. That you could put a model in front of me and I'd be able to go, that's Khorne, that's Nurgle, that's Slaanesh, that's Tzeentch. They all look very much like them. And now they've kind of, it's like they've got the playbook and just threw it in the bin.
Yeah.
And so what's Chaos? What does Chaos actually mean? Those new Tzeentch ones, one of the favourite bits about them is that they come from a city, a normal order city, and they just sort of live there. Not openly, but they are there. So they've taken on elements of how that city looks. They've learnt the martial arts in the martial arts school in that city. So it just stops it from being like, Chaos is like this rampaging horde where they kind of all live together and eat breakfast together and then go out and kill the nearest tribe together. It's that they actually might be in your city. It's a model that allows that sort of message to get put across rather than just a book or a bit of background. And I really like that. I like the variety of like height that you see in the terrain, which gives an indication of how things are going to be. Yeah. With it, which is great. I like the fact it's on the sort of kill team size board. I think that's good. Well, there's a lot of kill team similarities, isn't there? Like, there's the mausoleum, like, terrain box, which feels like a battle zone, box. Yeah. And the gangs, I think, are going to come out in similar kind of boxes to the kill team gang units, but I think they're going to stick around rather than the kill team ones. So I don't know if they still do like some of the earlier ones. Like, I don't know if you could still get the Space Wolf one, for example. I haven't looked recently.
I think you can.
But it feels like that.
Yeah.
Except rather than just sort of repackaging some Reavers, we've got brand new models, and that's got to be good.
Yeah.
It's got to be good. And what I really like is that this is all at once.
Yeah.
So, like with Kill Team and Shadespire, or Underworld, so, I'm still having the habit of calling it Shadespire, you get like a drip feed, don't you? So here's the next gang, and here's the next gang, and here's the next gang. All of the cards are done. You can buy the pack of cards for the Gloomspike Gits and the Iron Jaws, and they're all kind of there. So it feels like from day one, any player can either get the gang that they want or the Chaos gang or warband that they want and play, and it feels like it's probably going to be really balanced.
Yes, yeah, I
because
agree.
It's all been done at once and it's all been released at once. Because there's always that creep when you get a new thing built. However hard you try, I don't think it's ever really been 100% balanced. And it feels like you got all of this cool stuff at once, so it's going to be like a lot more accessible in a way, rather than people going, I'm going to wait for the Iron Jaws cards, for example. I'm quite interested to see what the campaign rules are going to be like.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think it'd be interesting to see what the campaign will be like. And also whether it requires any more miniatures, whether they are capped out at the size that the box is.
Yeah. Well, it says something about in the release schedule that the box comes with beasts, like Chaos Beasties, and that they can join your warband in the campaign mode. So I'm hoping that they can. We are going to see a bigger...
Yeah, actually, now that you say that, I remember reading that. Yeah. Well, you'll find out soon enough, sir.
Yes. Yeah, I will. Yeah. So you're going to pick it up?
Probably not.
No.
I love it. Don't get me wrong. Again, it's nothing to do with the product. The product is fantastic and it is really good. And it's probably right up my street because the game size it is going to be really good. But again, it's just time.
Yeah.
It's just time, Ben is going to get it, I think. So it'd be great to play against him.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I won't get it painted. And then I certainly won't be playing many games. I mean, I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kill zones from 40k. No, 7 kill zones from 40k to build and paint.
Good job.
Terrain wise. So yeah.
Good job.
So yeah, not for me on this at this point, although I do love the Iron Golem, so you never know.
I wonder if they're going to get rules to be used as units.
Well, it's interesting you should mention that. So I read on Facebook today that someone mentioned that the base sizes of the miniatures in Warcry was 28 mils, which is another different size of base.
Nah.
I know. Well, that's what I thought. But because the point they were making was that was to do with fighting in ranks or what have you, and I thought, that seems a bit daft. But we'll wait and see. No one will know.
They look like they're on 32 mils.
Hmm.
That would be my. Apart from the big golem is on a 50 something.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I was just checking what I was saying about the beast, just to remind myself and make sure that I'm not chatting nonsense, which, to be honest, is very possible. A selection of Chaos Beasts add extra challenges to your games and can even be added to your warband in longer campaigns. So yeah, I really like that scenery, actually. I've just had a proper look at it.
Yeah, I do as well.
I reckon you could add that in with Azurite Ruins and make a proper expansive old thing. I wonder... that's a question that I haven't seen answered. I wonder if they are compatible with the Azurite Ruin box set.
Ooh.
That would be cool, wouldn't it? Because in 40k, a lot of the stuff is compatible. Yeah. I'll keep an eye out for that and post something if I spot it.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be very good.
Yeah, so the first box set that we've seen, I don't know what they called it, Ravaged Lands, is the Corpse Rack Mausoleum, which looks like it's the Mausoleum box set and a board, or part of the Mausoleum box set and the board. And the cards that are going to be released on day 1 are the Stormcast Eternals, Daughters of Cain, the Deepkin, Nighthaunt, Iron Jaws, Gloomspike Gits, Legions of Nagash, Flesh Eater Courts, and Bone Splitters. So that's almost all of them, isn't it? I can't think of another large faction. So the ogres aren't represented. The dwarves aren't represented.
I don't think I heard you say Wanderers.
The Wanderers don't need representing.
No.
And unfortunately, there's no Tomb Kings, so, never mind.
Gutting.
On the subject of sort of... I had not seen that, the ruler.
Yeah. Flexible rubber thing.
It's quite an interesting looking thing. Doesn't excite me at all. And your favourite little carry cases.
Yeah, I love these. I was looking at these earlier. I was looking at the price of them and I was like, oh.
So, on releases or not releases, or the things that disappear, and you mentioned earlier about the things that disappear out of the back door while things are coming in through the front door, a bit like a Led Zeppelin song. And all of the greenskins have gone off the website. So I was like, I quite like a greenskin sort of section to my sort of gathering destruction army, my growing destruction army. And I'd just done those greenskins to things from the old starters kit. And I was like, it's really irritating, my collection of bits. I've got 15 bodies and heads and legs. Right, you're going to love this. But no arms. I don't even know how that's possible, Dan.
No, I was going to say, how has that happened?
I mean, I managed to sort of gather together bits and convert them to make 5. And then I thought, I can't be bothered. It's just going to take ages. So I've just sort of left those 5, and I might use them for something like Dungeons and Dragons or something, because unfortunately they come in 10s. Anyway, which leads me on to, I got in a panic and I was like, well, what if I can't use these things in my army anymore? Because I've got 2 units of 20 here, and it'd be a bit gutting if I could just paint them up and then they'd have to sit on like a shelf of, here's a box set of old. And if I was going to do that, then I may as well not put them on the round bases. All those sort of things you think about when you're assembling old models. And, but they're in the points are still in the General's Handbook. So I genuinely don't know what's going on. Because I'd have thought if they'd have got rid of the range, they'd have just got rid of them out of the General's Handbook. And also, I've seen lots of sneak peeks of very iron jawry, orky looking weapons.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we're going to see a reboxing and release of greenskins. Maybe in the same way that they've done Gloomspike Gits and joined the Moonface Grots, Spider Grots, Trolls, all of that lot together in one army, that we're going to see a rebranding of Iron Jaws to like Iron Jaws and Happy Family. You know, all the greenskins, which I wouldn't be sad if that happened. Because I know we talked a lot about in the past how it felt like they were exploding out different units into whole armies. And that's cool. But I quite like to see the greenskins playing a bigger role, like the normal greenskin.
Yeah.
And like the Ball Boys were so good, I just can't see them getting rid of them. They were lovely models. And they're still selling the Bone Splitters version of them, so... Yeah, that's what I think. I think we're going to see... This is my prediction. I think we're going to see a re-release of some form of greenskins pretty soon. And I think we're going to see a release of elves pretty soon. Because there's lots of those on... hints kicking around.
Yeah, that I'm very excited by. Very excited by.
Because I've been thinking of doing elves order next for Age of Sigmar. Because of that painting where it's the goblins versus the elves. And I got the goblin side all done. And I quite like to do... because I've got Grom the Paunch, I'd like to do Eltharion the Grim again, you know?
Yeah.
And have those 2 old school models and the 2 opposing forces, but do the army in the same style as that painting, so they're really white and bright and like a proper Realm of Light looking army. And I was quite excited by the idea of using the white contrast paint to sort of get the basics done. So, yeah, no, I mean it. So getting the whole kind of army done with that white paint and then highlighting them up a bit and then just picking out the armour and the other bits and keeping them really bright. But we'll just see. I'm going to do a few test models because I've got plenty of the old Blood Island elves to mess around with.
Yeah.
Do some test models of them.
There's some nice models in there.
Yeah, it's a shame I can't use them anymore. Because I've got almost 100 of the Loth and Seaguard. It's quite depressing that I can't use them. Mind you, having said that, it's almost relieving because I couldn't honestly imagine painting 100 elves. I think that would break me a little bit. Are you still there?
Yeah, definitely. Just mulling over what you were saying.
Well, I've got to double check because last time you fell asleep at this point.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm definitely still here.
Good. So that would be my plan, but the only problem with that plan is that means I would have painted Age of Sigmar for a very long time, and I think my 40k forces are starting to cry for attention.
Yeah. Owls on the wind, I can hear them.
Yeah.
Right. Is there anything else you want to discuss, dude?
There's not, and I don't think there's any releases that we've missed. Warcry has been like the big thing. Oh, one thing that's worth saying is the elves are here. So the Sylvaneth are about to arrive.
Oh, yes.
Huzzah. So the trucks have managed to make it through the... wherever they've been. There's one thing that I will say about that release. I much preferred the old Sylvaneth dice.
Yeah, me too. I don't get this. I've said it loads of times. I don't get all these random difficult to use dice. Gets on my nerves.
What, all the different pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't use them for a tournament.
No.
Because I'd feel like, I don't know, that they're just... I'd have to take my time to read them. Yeah. And I think if someone else was using them, I'd be looking at them going, did you just pick up a 6 or a 1? I don't know. So yeah, I completely agree. But I don't know if you're going to be able to buy the character separately yet, because he's in the picture of the... No, he's not. That's not him. Ignore me. Completely ignore me. Yeah, so that's quite cool. Joe's excited. And I will be picking up some of the trees just because the trees are flipping amazing. The Awakened Woodland, Wildwood. Love it.
Yeah, I love that wood. That's
absolutely brilliant. And I've just scrolled down past that bit and seen that they're releasing a Start Collecting Space Wolf Primaris. Yep. And the Start Collecting Thousand Suns, which has got a ton of models in.
Yeah, it has, hasn't it? It's good, that one.
Oh, if I keep going further, there's Titanicus Titans. The Wood Elf Blood Bowl team. That's the last thing. I knew there was something we'd missed out. That's been on pre-orders this week as well. And they're very sweet. There we go.
Is that everything?
I think so, yeah.
Cool. Right. Well then, it's time for the community.
It is.
Cheery bye.
So Bristolian.
We'll see you in the other section. Hail, glorious community. We are back to a community section once more, with some shout outs and a prize winner as well. Oh, well, not a prize winner, I suppose. A winner for this month. Although it can't be long until we do another prize one.
No, I think it's pretty soon.
It is pretty soon. So, Ben, Instagram, go.
Instagram. So, the first one I'd like to shout out is, I've called this guy out numerous occasions, member of Iron Sleet, Colty, with 2T's, for his Mordheim project, because it's just unbelievable, Dan.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
it's really good, isn't it?
I cannot say how much I am in love with this project. It's just groundbreaking hobby as far as I'm concerned. So it's an all-in project. So from the ground up, he has built a board, and with all the town ruined bits in it, and it's micro detailed. So it's not just sort of a board with some buildings that he moves around. It is micro detailed, so it's all the environment is fully kind of imagined. And then he's been building himself a number of war bands to play on it. And I just particularly love the Empire one, with the ogre and all the little details. And he's a stunning painter, paints in a very Blanchitsu old kind of Warhammer style. And he's been recently posting pictures of games played on it, and I don't even know how to put it into words. It hits every hobby button like a hammer. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, it does.
It's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So if you're into Mordheim, or you like skirmish games, or you like old Warhammer, or you just like fantasy hobby, please go and have a look at this guy's page. He's part of Iron Sleet, so www.ironsleet.com will have pictures on it, but he's KOLTTI on Instagram. Well worth it. My second shout out is to a chap called Anamnesis Studio, who has been doing a fantastic... His name's David. He's behind the studio. He's been doing a fantastic version of that new Sylvaneth chap, who, in typical 2P's fashion, I can't remember the name of it. What's it called?
Oh, with the wings.
Yeah, the guy with the wings
and the spear.
So he's been doing a fantastic version of that. He's got a really great Sylvaneth army, and he's done a cool kind of bluey purpley blade on it, and he's done a superb tutorial on how to do it, Dan, on his blog page, which is anamnesismadness.blogspot.com. Obviously all the links of this will be on our show notes when you listen to it. It's not only a good sort of tutorial on how to do the blade itself, it's a good tutorial on how to do non-metal metallics on a blade, period. And not only that, it's a really good tutorial on how to do blending on a surfaces, period, as well. So it's a really nice little tutorial, and I would recommend that people go and have a look at it if they can. So that's been my highlights of the last month, those two things. I have to say, though, at the moment, the amount of awesome hobby is just mind-blowing. I don't know. I think that
it almost balances out the amount of non-awesome politics.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And if you don't shout some people out on the Facebook page, I will jump in, because there's a few I'd like to call out. So over to you.
Well, I've got couple bits, quite specific bits to say. So the first thing is congratulations to Rob Davis for Oberon the Bold. That is absolutely incredible, and quite appropriately the winner of June's Hero of Legend competition. So well done, buddy. Really, wow, just excellent. And the standard of the entries was superb. And really nice to see quite a few. So this month is Engine of War. So that gives people a chance to explore many things, really, from cannons to titans. So it'll be good to see that. Shout outs wise, I think the main one for me, and there's been lots of great ones, but Simon, Roger, Brian Andrews has put up some characters from Warhammer Quest, the original Warhammer Quest.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I was going to shout out, because it's amazing.
Yeah, the barbarian, the wizard, and the dwarf, absolutely fantastic. Really, really nice realisation of some older miniatures. I love it. I think it's really, really nice. So, yeah, that was the one that really jumped out at me as I was scrolling down through. But there's so much great work. I mean, Tom Taylor Big has got his Harlequins he's doing more.
That was the second one I wanted to shout out. They are superb, Tom. Yeah. Absolutely superb.
The aforementioned Rob is doing a war boss, dude. And it's the old metal one.
Yeah. That's a Gork and Walker model.
Is it?
Yeah, because he posted that he bought it a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, it's a Gork and Walker model. It's really class, isn't it? It's lovely to see it, actually. Lovely to see it being painted by someone who is so good at painting. So yeah, really, really looking forward to seeing that finished.
Yeah. Yeah, so some really good stuff on there. What? Anybody else you were going to shout out?
No, that was my main ones. Really liked those. So yeah, that particularly wanted to shout out the Hero Quest stuff and the Harlequins. Both really awesome projects. Yeah,
and thank you guys again for keeping the hobby group a nice positive place and quite an active place as well, which is lovely to see.
Yeah, it's really important to us that the place is positive and friendly and welcoming, and we don't have to do anything to make that happen. So you guys are just awesome. So thank you very much.
So I thought what would be cool, Ben, unless you've got anything else you wanted to talk about for the community section, is to round it up with a bit of thoughts from you regarding the roll dice gaming trip that you went on.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. There's one event that I wanted to shout out that I hadn't seen this last year, and I hadn't heard of it up until now, and I kind of forgot the name of it. I've just spotted it like a few hours ago when I was buying my Age of Sigmar Open Day ticket, which the story of having had them, then they were sold they were returned because you weren't going, and then we went to buy them and they weren't available, and then they've just been made available again today. So we've just bought our tickets and we're very excited about it. But there's like a masterclass week that Games Workshop are running, where it's £150 for the whole week, and you get the idea is I think you do a project in Warhammer World, and you'll have the support from studio team and various skilled individuals will come and sort of give ideas and help as you do it through the week. And you have Bugman's.
Well, that sounds amazing.
Bugman's meals every day, and free access to the events hall for 150 quid, dude.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And there's evening heavy metal masterclasses as well.
Wow.
I know.
Well, that sounds amazing.
And there's 1 and 2. I don't know if they're meant to follow on from each other. But one of them is in a couple of weeks, end of July, and one of them is at the start of August, and they haven't sold out. So I don't know what is happening. I guess people haven't found the time off, but
I guess as well, with a week, you've got to arrange accommodation 9 to 10.
Yeah, you do, but if you're doing an army project, you're kick-starting an army project, to have those people around to sort of help you do it, and I can't remember all the details. Honestly, though, it looks amazing, and I would seriously consider sorting it out to do next year.
Yeah,
really would. But that would take some planning, really. That's probably it, isn't it? It's the summer holidays, and it's really difficult to get a week off. If you lived in Nottingham, that would just happen.
You'd be all right then.
Anyway, that's one thought. So, roll dice. Wow. Where do we start with this one? I thought it was a fantastic first shot at such a huge event. Really, there's so many positives. That I almost don't know where to start. So the venue that they chose was brilliant. It was big. It was airy. There was plenty of room. There was loads of room so that you could have the tournaments in and amongst the traders and the displays. So you ended up with I felt like more of a buzzy kind of atmosphere where you could just sort of wander and overlook at a game and then go back and look at what was going on and elsewhere. I would have liked to have seen more traders, I think. There was no one selling Games Workshop stock. There was no one there. I was hoping to pick up the Fallout board game, the Fallout hobby game, miniatures game.
Yeah.
Starters kit. That no one was selling that. And I would have thought that was fairly sort of standard for a lot of, the specialist games, really. But so I'd like to see a bit more. No one was selling paint, which is just remarkable. So there's room for improvement, but the traders that were there were really cool, really friendly,
good. Really
happy to talk to, and some really cool products. There was one guy who had a wound wang that I thought was hilarious. It's like a little plastic thing where you can record your wounds on. And the demo games there were superb. And what I'm going to do is, because of how good they were, we're going to segue on into the wild section. So, I can talk about them, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, that's fine,
I'll do that in just a second. The painting competition, I'm going to give it a little kind of 5 minutes on its own, was run by Cult of Paint, who are, it's the first time I've come in contact with them in person, although Henry we've chatted to him online. Incredibly professional, had a really clear vision of what they wanted to do. It was set up really well. And the quality of the miniatures in that competition was really incredible.
Yeah.
And that only could have happened because those guys were attracting that kind of attention, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
There's some models there that entered into the competition that have won Golden Demons. And so having a look at them in person, like the wonderful one with the raptor coming through the window and taking out the custodian, was there in person. And the best bit was that they'd got, of course, Andy Wardle and Richard Gray were both there, and they had some of their models on display, and I could have sat and looked at them all day. It's really hard to get across in how much better things look in person than they do on
oh yeah,
on the internet or on the pages of White Dwarf. I took photos of Andy Wardle's Blood Angels squad, which nailed the argument for me about, do I highlight my Blood Angels up in orange, or when I come to do them, do I want to go for the pink? Pink. The kind of, because that squad is stunning in person, like really incredible how much better that looks in person rather than, in the photographs. And I'd seen it through the cabinet over like the 20 people that surround every cabinet in Golden Demon, so I hadn't really had a good chance to have a look at it. But with this, that I could this time really get up close. Like, I could touch it if I wanted to, although, every ounce of hobby etiquette says you don't do that. Oh, mate, it's just amazing. And they were all really cool, really helpful, had loads of advice to give. And
yeah, they're a great team, those guys.
Yeah, and a big thanks to Andy and Henry for having a long chat and putting up with me being a total fanboy. Unfortunately didn't get much of a chance to talk to Richard Gray, but because he was running a painting lesson, which he was doing freehand. As a freehand lesson. Again, the photographs of what he'd done and seeing them in person. Oh my days. It's abnormally good. It's just so bad. Look, like the detail is insane. I'm like, how do you do that? Like the tiny little detail that he had on the skull, like the tiny little cracks. Perfect. Absolutely stunning. So I snuck Joe's Deepkin up there, entered into the competition, and she won a bronze. So well chuffed for her. And I entered a few things and won myself some silvers in that too. So really boosted my confidence, and it was really great to get feedback from Andy on what I'd done. So the painting event is easily going to be one of the highlights of my year.
Excellent. Oh, that's good. That's good. So, segueing on, tell me about these games you played.
Well, I didn't play them. I watched the other guys play them, but there's two games I wanted to sort of give a shout out to. The first one is called, it gets absolutely right because I don't want to get this wrong, Drowned Earth. I quite like the look of this. It's very similar in some ways to Outlands, which I really like as a game system. It's in a post-apocalyptic flooded world where they'd spent a lot of time getting the demo boards looking exactly as they'd imagined their world to be. Mm-hmm. And there's dinosaurs and like big ape people, and the model range that goes with it was really cool. Really, really cool. Oh, yeah. It's got a kind of reaction system in it. So if you do something, the opponent can immediately react, which makes you sort of double guess how you do things. I really liked the overall look of it. And it's nice to see a game demoed by a really professional setup, in a really professional setup with the table sort of done so that they were getting across exactly what they wanted it to look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good.
So that was really cool. Mm-hmm. So that was called Drowned Earth. And I'm going to so the second one, was a game called Moonstone. Now, I didn't get to play this, because Ross and Marcus, they did. It looked really cool. There's no dice involved, apart from like rolling where some of the objectives are and rolling to see who goes first. That's it. The rest of it's card based, and there's some really good selling points to this game. So the first one is that the models that they've made for it are beautiful. There's some really obvious influences from things like the Labyrinth and a kind of twisted fantasy universe like the Labyrinth. Like the little fairies are amazing. The goblins are great. There's a goblin riding a pug dog who does damage by farting. So it's got a great sense of humour to it. And it played really well. It kept the guys fully entertained and in suspense all the way through it. And again, they'd made a solid effort for like how it was presented on the day. So they'd used the Tabletop World stuff. And that's the first time I've seen that stuff in person. And it's the only time I'm ever going to need to see it in person to know that I want to buy everything that company makes. Because they are beautiful. And whoever's painting the models has done a fantastic job of painting the models. And the game table was set up like in a really kind of thematic way, so that it was just watching them play it was a treat. You know, I quite happily stood and watched it for quite a long time. If my feet weren't hurting so much, I needed to sit down every half an hour. I really enjoyed that. I very, very nearly bought the starters kit, and one of the expansion boxes and the book. Only reason I didn't was because, we're going up to, Age of Sigmar Open Day, and I wanted to have some spending pennies for that. But I will be seriously looking at it in the future. And, Jo is too, actually, because she really liked the models, because, Marcus was showing them to her the other day. So I thought it'd be quite a cool game for them to get into. So that's 2 games that I saw that and kind of local guys, you know, local teams within the sort of southwestish of England, that I thought was really solid looking games. So, really chuffed to see that. It's nice to come across something where you think, "Oh, I could quite get into that." Like that Drowned Earth one had a dude in a little battle mech that I almost bought to paint for our painting competition. And dinosaurs. Did I mention it had dinosaurs?
No, I don't remember the dinosaurs.
Drowned Earth. It's got dinosaurs and gorilla men. So that's those 2. And I've finally, one last thing. I don't know if I've spoken about, but Alien vs. Predator has now drawn itself to a close. And with one final sale, which was a 3-day sale, and they had all of the limited edition models that it ever produced up for sale, which was awesome. So I've picked up a few of those. And that is that done and dusted. So over the next coming months, I'll be painting those, putting those together. And I'm really looking forward to doing that. And hopefully finding some use for them. But that is the end of that little saga. Which is a bit of a shame, really. These last 45 episodes have kind of documented its rise and fall in some ways.
Yeah.
So, that's it. That's my little, bit on roll dice, and the stuff that we saw there, and a little bit of mixed into the wilds of the other stuff that look really awesome. And, I'm really excited about Roll Dice, Dan. I think hoping it's going to go from strength to strength, because I think there's a solid foundation.
Yeah, me too. It's a great location and a good start. So,
and the pizza night was good. Pizza was good. That's important. Good pizza makes everything better. So thank you guys and gals for joining us for episode 45.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We're, like I said, monthly isn't going to be forever. It's just while we find our feet with the new life circumstances that we're finding ourselves in. And as ever, we are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the 2P's podcast. And you can find us on YouTube, although we don't regularly post videos, to be honest. Because no one wants to see our ugly mugs. So, and you can find us on there if you want to sort of catch our episodes via that. But normally you'll find us on Podbean or iTunes. We're on both of those. So have an awesome couple of weeks to a month, and we shall see you then.
Bye.